Thanks, Kristen. Oh, I gotta click a button. Yeah, so good morning, welcome. Today we're gonna do a grant workshop focused on the fall 2022 tourism grants. We have, here's a brief outline of what we have in store for today's workshop. We'll do a brief round of introductions of folks who are on the call today. I'm going to share some background on the Tompkins County Tourism Program. We'll do introductions of our partners here with Visit Ithaca and the Tompkins Festivals Program. And then we'll dive into the 4 grant programs that are available this fall: community celebrations, tourism project grants, tourism marketing grants, tourism capital grants. I'm going to share some information about the common grant application platform and how you go about preparing and submitting the application through that. And then we'll have some time for consultation, question and answer, to talk through any questions you might have that came up during the presentation. All right, so without any further ado, we'll jump into introductions here. Let me move some things around on my screen. I'll be MC and call on folks. Yeah, I was going to go ahead and do introductions. I think let's go ahead and start. I'll just start on my screen. Looks like Gail Smith.
Yes.
Could you share? Is this your first time applying for a grant from the tourism program?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay, great. And do you have any questions you're trying to get answered today, or ideas that you're considering?
Well, I am the president of the Friends of Newman Golf Course, and we're interested in possibly applying for a grant to do a feasibility study on the placement of a new clubhouse here.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Ryan?
Hi, good morning. I'm Ryan. I work over at the Science Center, and we've applied for a couple of Tompkins County tourism grants in the past, and we're wrapping up a couple of those projects this year, and are excited to submit some ideas for some upcoming work we have planned for the fall, some kind of exhibition openings, some potential events, and maybe some new exhibit projects.
Very good. Thanks. Robin?
Hi, I'm Robin Tropper-Herbal, the Executive Director at the Community School of Music and Arts. We are current recipients of ACOD, Arts and Cultural Organizational Development funding through the tourism program. We've been funded a couple times for tourism capital grants. And it's just been a while since I've attended any workshops for these programs. So I thought it just would be helpful to see what the current guidelines are, and to possibly apply for some kind of campaign to support our activities in tourism.
Great, thank you. All right, Nancy?
I'm marketing co-chair for the State of the Art Gallery, and we're looking to get some support for a multi-gallery event next August. I'm hoping that this would apply for that.
Great, thanks. Mike?
Mike Smith with the Town of Ithaca Planning Department, and we're thinking about a trail project.
Very good. Chris?
Chris Stephanie, also with CSMA. It's all new to me, so I'm just learning about grants.
Great. Welcome. And Noah?
Noah Demarest with Stream Collaborative Architects. We're working with the Friends of Newman on a potential clubhouse design feasibility study.
Very good. Awesome. And anyone I didn't call on will get a chance to talk later in the presentation. So I didn't ignore you, just saving your time for a little later. All right, so here we go. Folks may wonder, why does the county care about tourism? Why do we have a tourism program, tourism director, so forth? I think for me, this quote from Ed McMahon at the Urban Land Institute does a good job of summarizing that in a really unique, concise way. And the quote is that tourism is about visiting places that are different, unusual, and unique. If every place was just like every place else, there'd be no reason to go any place. And, Tompkins County and Ithaca offer some really unique natural and cultural experiences that folks can't find in their hometowns and where they're from. And people literally come from around the world to experience those things. So that's why we are adamant about growing tourism in our community and making sure that people have a good experience once they're here. How do we make those decisions? They're guided by our county's Strategic Tourism Planning Board, the STPB, as I'll refer to it throughout this presentation. This is an older photo, so several of these folks have since had no longer on the STPB, but you can get a sense of the composition here. We have 18 voting members and 7 non-voting members. And the purpose of the organization is to advise the county on tourism development, review the activities of the entities that receive room tax funds to develop tourism policy, and to advise the legislature on allocation of the room tax or create an annual budget. So really anything that touches tourism within Tompkins County will, in some way be reviewed or acted on by this group. And they meet monthly. If you're interested in learning more about the STPB or potentially ever considering becoming a member of this organization, feel free to reach out to myself or Kristen, and we can get you more information on that opportunity. So our tourism program has a strategic plan which lays out 8 core values that we aspire to in all of our activities. And I'll just kind of go through these really briefly here because I think it's important to think about as you're considering a project for a grant. The first is to leverage local and regional assets, and that meaning that we're working with what we already have here and making those assets as the best they can be. Improving connectivity within the county, creating multi-day and off-peak travel demand, bringing people here during times of the week and times of the year when they aren't normally visiting Ithaca and Tompkins County, developing accountable and transparent programs, advocating for policies that affect tourism, thoughtfully supporting new economic growth, enhancing visitor experience, and presenting our inclusive, accessible, vibrant, and sustainable community. So these are the things that we aspire to in all the activities we do through the tourism program. We also in our plan outline 7 different goals. I'm not going to read through these each verbatim, but I think you'll want to definitely have a close look at these when you're considering your applications, particularly the first 3 or 4, as they often affect grants that we make. And that our goals, really are looking at increasing our average trip length to make a lot of people to visit here for a longer period of time, increasing visitor spending, offering indoor and outdoor programming year round, and increasing access to Cayuga Lake. Those are really, I think, the key ones that affect a lot of the grant activities that we fund through the tourism program. I'm going to switch gears here a little bit and hand over the stage to Peggy Coleman with the Ithaca and Tompkins County Convention Visitors Bureau, also known as Visit Ithaca, and allow her to do a bit of an introduction of what her organization is and how they work with grant applicants and recipients through the tourism program.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate that. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. First of all, I'm glad you're all here. I'm glad you're excited to learn more about the Tompkins County Tourism Program and how your projects can support economic development through tourism. So our role is the CVB. You'll hear that a lot. Another acronym. Our role as the CVB is to promote the destination, as Nick said, globally. So we work with three, if you think of a three-pronged stool, we invite visitors through our marketing department, be that in person, online, advertising, etc. We also have a sales team who looks to invite groups of people, international group travel, weddings, conferences, meetings, sporting events. And then the third leg of that stool is our visitor experience team. And they're the ones who staff the two visitor centers. We operate one downtown on the Ithaca Commons inside the Tompkins Center for History and Culture. And the second is a seasonal visitor center. That was one of the opening images that Nick has in the presentation at the overlook at Teganic Falls. And we do welcome visitors from annually around the United States, typically all 50 states and the Washington, D.C., as well as up to 14 to 20 countries. So our role here in the Tompkins County Tourism Program is we want to get more people to come and stay and experience our destination and leave their dollars here and go back with a really positive experience to invite their friends to repeat their experience. As you're looking at different programs, it sounded based on what from what everyone has said, that we have a lot of project components. I'm not sure if they're going to be marketing or event grants applications. One thing I'd really encourage you to do is think about how to get the word out about your project and or your event in advance so that there's enough notice for people to actually come and experience and enjoy that. We have our website is visitithaca.com. While we are branded as Visit Ithaca, we represent all of Tompkins County and they're great assets throughout the county. And we're always looking for exciting new things to promote, especially during the off season. So things that happen November through April especially are very attractive and new assets to get people to stay another day. So that's kind of a snapshot of what we do. And we are here as a resource to help you as you're developing your marketing plan on how to get the word out about your applications, or excuse me, about your projects. Nick, I guess I'm going to go back to you, and I'm sure there will be questions available later.
Great. Thanks, Peggy. Yes. All right. And next, I'm going to ask Scott with the Downtown Ithaca Alliance to give us a brief overview of the Tompkins Festivals program. Scott?
Thanks, Nick. Hi, everyone. Like Nick said, my name is Scott Rougeau. I'm the Special Events Director at the Downtown Ithaca Alliance. I've been there, I just passed my 6-year anniversary. The main projects that we focus on, my role focuses on, are large-scale events in the downtown, the Apple Harvest Festival, our summer concert series, the Ithaca Festival, chili cook-offs, our winter celebration that we do every year, as well as some smaller fun activities. But another aspect of our job is we manage the Tompkins Festivals program, myself and our team. So I'm going to launch into a little slideshow for that, if that's okay, Nick.
Yeah, let me switch it over to you. There you go.
Thank you. All right, I think that's working on my end. Can everyone see that? Awesome, seeing some nods, excellent. So the Tompkins Festivals program, much like Peggy was saying, the CVB helps with communications, marketing with your event. Likewise, the Tompkins Festivals program is here to assist with the nuts and bolts, actually building the event from the ground up, all the way through equipment rental and technical assistance as well. So the program itself has existed for, I think, about the past 8 years. I might have to update that, but 8 years according to my records. Again, just like the CVB, it's here to support our tourism generating events throughout the community. It's a county-wide program, of course. We look to accomplish this through three avenues specifically, providing technical assistance and guidance throughout the planning process for all kinds of event organizers, not just first-time event organizers. We've worked with, long-standing events in the county, Ithaca Festival, for example. Every year we're providing technical assistance for them as well. Also offering our equipment lending program, which we'll touch on a little bit later as well. And then also we have a series of event planning workshops that we organize throughout the year. So our workshops for this past year just happened this last April, but we try to upload all of the information, presentations, and documents from that up on our website. So I'll have a few links that I'll share with everyone as the presentation goes on. But good place to start is with technical assistance. So there has always been a lot of details that go into planning an event, permitting, building out your concept, venue scouting, etc. Now that we're moving into a more conscious world, post-COVID or in the later tail of COVID, hopefully, there's all kinds of other safety precautions that have to be taken into account. Also, statewide and national event requirements have kind of gotten a little more strict throughout the years too. So recently, crowd managing has been a requirement for any event with 1,000 people or more within the county. So that's a new one to us. As recent as the past 2 years, I think 2019 was the first year they really implemented that. But we're here to walk you through the entire planning process, again, helping you through your concept. And then, just thinking about the things that potentially you might not be thinking of, oh, are you going to have large crowds? Are you going to have bathrooms? What's your trash management plan? Do you need volunteers, crossing guards? We'll walk through your event with you, again, at any stage, preferably from the beginning. That way we can find issues early on and you're not caught off guard later on in the process. But please reach out to myself and my team, and I'll drop contacts in the chat here. But really a tremendous resource for any event organizer within the county. So even if you're just spitballing an idea for an event, or again, if you have a long-standing event that you're looking to enhance or grow or expand, we're happy to help walk you through that process. Also connect you with vendors as well. So sound engineers, security teams, like I said, porta-johns, waste management, etc. So definitely take advantage of that, please. And if you just shoot me an email or give our office a call, happy to meet with you. We'll put something on the books, at least an hour dedicated for everyone. So please utilize this if you're planning an event at some point. Oh, and in 2019, so I do have to update this slide, we had 36 hours of technical assistance that we provided to event organizers throughout the counties. All right, our event planning workshops, like I said, these happen, we do 2 sessions once a year at Cinemapolis traditionally. We rent one of the theaters there. And we bring in industry experts that typically speak for about 45 minutes on their area of expertise. So you can see the list there, but it really runs, again, it gets into the nitty gritty of every aspect of event planning for the most part. So, marketing's touched on, permitting is a big deal, both city permitting, county permitting, state permitting. Waste management plan is always a hot topic. Let's see here, selecting a date, venue scouting. It really is a great resource. And in addition to having these industry experts speak, field questions, it's also a great networking opportunity for event organizers within the county too. I can't tell you how many times we see conversations in between sessions spark up between organizers, and all of a sudden 2 events that maybe would have been on the smaller side or medium side decide to collaborate together, and all of a sudden they're sharing their audience, they're capturing that all together, and they're just building a larger experience that hopefully draws better and keeps people in town a little bit longer too. All of these presentations are up on the Tompkins Festival's website. Again, I'll drop that in the link or that link in the chat as soon as we're done with this presentation. But I'll certainly pass along the dates for next year's workshops when those are coming along. A little early in the day for those, but we're always trying to add more topics too and keep it fresh every year. So if there's ever any subject matter that comes up that you'd like to see covered, please pass that along, and we'll try to get someone in there to speak to that as well. Very popular, our equipment lending program. So the equipment lending program, all of these are completely free to event organizers within the county. The equipment lending program is no different. We have a large roster of standard event equipment that's needed that, especially if your event's just getting started or getting off the ground, this will save you a lot of money that can then be used towards marketing, communications, programming, to enhance your draw. So tents, tables, chairs, PA systems, we have traffic vests and flags, we have generators, staging, coolers, igloo coolers, water coolers, traffic cones. It just goes on and on. We really have a robust offering. And just like the workshops, we're always adding to that every year. Our most recent addition was we talked about crowd managers earlier, was crowd management barricades. We have the 6-foot steel barricades, if you have to section off an area. We also do fire extinguishers, exit signs, staging lights, etc. So, but again, tremendous program. Any event organizer in the county should take advantage of. This is all meant for tourism generating events, but if the equipment's sitting there idle, in between events, we're happy to open it up to smaller events in the community as long as it's available. But as you can see, we saved event organizers about $28,000 in 2019, which was pretty significant. I mean, we can all imagine what we would do with an extra $28,000 in our budget for our events. So definitely take advantage of that. It is on a first come, first served basis. All the equipment is stored downtown behind Cinnamopolis and Center Ithaca. Construction's been a little disruptive down there. So unfortunately, the closest parking place would be City Hall, but we're happy to coordinate with whoever's picking up or dropping off equipment. So quick list of the festivals that we have assisted in the past: Cuga Sound, Reggae Festival, large music festivals that take place. We've also touched base with cultural celebrations, the First Peoples Festival, which has since gone away, but I hope something pops up to take its place. Festival of Nations, sporting events. We've helped out a lot of soccer tournaments before, the Gorgeous Half Marathons, taking advantage of our services. And then, large just celebrations, Wizarding Weekend when that was still around, like I said, the Ithaca Festival, Finger Lakes Comedy Festival, etc. So please do not hesitate to reach out, again, at any stage in the planning process. If you're a returning event, a new event, we're just here to help to make sure that you have the most successful event possible. So and actually, I'll drop in the chat right now. I'll stop sharing my screen, but I'll just drop all the links I have in the chat. And Nick, it sounds like you want to do questions at the end, perhaps.
Yeah, if that's all right. We'll get if anyone has like a quick clarifying question for either Scott or Peggy, just in case they can't make it to the very end, we can take those now.
I'll be here. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, let's go back. All right. Thanks, Scott. So here we go. So I'm gonna switch gears here to focus on the tourism grant opportunities we have that are available for this fall. But before I do, I just want to kind of make it clear that if you have questions after this workshop, there are ways to find help and get assistance with the grants. I always encourage folks first to check the grant guidelines if they have a question. Often we try to get as many questions answered in those documents as possible. If you cannot find your answer there or cannot locate the guidelines, you can book an appointment online. This is a new feature we're doing this year. And let me see if I can switch that link that I'll share in the chat will take you to a website where you can put a time on my calendar to schedule a virtual consultation with me to talk about any part of your grant application. And if you'd prefer to just do it by email, you can always send in a message to tourism@tompkins-co.org. And that will go to me and Kristen, and we'll be able to field it from there. So just making sure you're aware that there are other ways to find help. The 4 programs we're making available this fall are the Community Celebrations Grant, Tourism Marketing Grant, Tourism Project Grant, and Tourism Capital Grant. We'll go through those one at a time here. So our Community Celebrations Grant, the purpose of this grant is to support events that convey the unique culture and history of Tompkins County. These are events that happen across the county, and we try to get them in every town, village, neighborhood, and community where we possibly can. The events are free and must be free and open to all. No admission charges. And the types of events that are eligible are observances, jubilations, presentations, any significant occasion or day or event that is worth celebrating. We do have some restrictions on the kinds of things that we can fund through this grant. So items such as carnival rides, fireworks, religious celebrations, and a few others that are spelled out in the grant guidelines are restricted. Awards for the celebrations grant range from $500 to $2,000, and we currently have just under $13,000 available for the current round of funding. This grant does require a match. So for every dollar of grant funds that are applied for, you have to come up with $1 from another source. We do allow in-kind donations and volunteer time to count toward that match. So that can often help. And the application deadline is September 12, 2022. I believe it's a little, try to shift my screen. Oops, let's see if, I believe Carol Kamen was on the call here. Are you still there, Carol? Yes. Okay. Carol is our county historian, and she has been helping with the Community Celebrations Grant for at least as long as I've been with the county. So Carol, if you would you just give us a quick overview of the grant and your kind of view on it?
Sure. This is a grant that allows us to celebrate ourselves and to explore who we are and to add to the knowledge of the people making the grant in the grant making process. So we've seen little things, little events that have grown into rather lovely big events. We have funded the Children's Garden for years, and each time the events get bigger. We funded the dragon boat when it was a baby dragon boat, and now it's a big dragon boat, although I'm not sure they had one last year. COVID has done us all in. We've done a number of different events, and our interest is not so much bringing people here, but developing the culture we have here. Other people do come, and those people are noticed by the people who attend events, but these tend to be town events, ethnic events, small events that celebrate an individual or something that happened here. And I have been doing this since 2000, and Nick and Kristen do all the work, and I get to announce the winners, which is not a bad deal at all. Anything else you want me to say about it, Nick?
I think that covers it. Thanks, Carol. Yeah, Carol's a great help in this program. Really brings a really excellent wealth of information and history to and perspective on the proposals we get for community celebrations. So
I do have one question, Nick. Didn't STBB increase the award to 3,000?
You know, for a time it was at 3,000.
Okay.
I don't think we have, what do we have it listed at right now? 2,000?
It's 2, and it might be 2 this year.
Yeah.
The 12,000 available, I should say, is our second round. So we have 2 periods of application. We tend to get many more applicants than we can fund. We do our best. So we have $12,000 or almost $13,000 for this fall. And we really encourage applications, especially in the deader season of the year, colder season of the year.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thanks, Carol. All right. Okay, our next grant category I'm going to give an overview of is the Tourism Marketing Grant. And the purpose for this grant is to deliver strong marketing and advertising campaigns to attract out-of-county visitors. So this award is available for nonprofit organizations in the county that are considering a advertising campaign to bring folks here, whether that's for an event or an attraction or something that's going to be around a longer period of time. Any kind of form of marketing or advertising is eligible for this. However, we do have some restrictions on things that would promote fundraisers, membership groups, faith-based congregations or conferences. And awards range from $1,000 to $3,000. We have $10,000 available in the current round. This grant also has a match requirement. So for every $1 of grant funding that's received, $1 of a match has to be documented. And this one is a cash only match. It's not, you can't use donated goods or services to count toward your matching for the marketing grant. Similar, you'll notice the application deadline is also September 12th. So this is the Tourism Marketing Grant, and it is oftentimes paired up with the next one I want to talk about, which is the Tourism Project Grant. And this grant, I think, really is in a lot of ways, you know, at the core of what we're trying to accomplish with some of our activities in the strategic tourism plan, because its purpose is to support projects that encourage overnight stays in Tompkins County lodging establishments and that implement other elements of the strategic tourism plan. So this is available for nonprofit organizations and municipalities to apply for. You'll notice that there's a similar restriction on things related to fundraisers, membership groups, faith congregations, and conferences. Awards are a bit larger, ranging from $1,000 to $10,000. We currently have $25,000 available for fall grants. A match is required. It's a 2-to-1 match. So for every $1 of grant funding, $2 of matching funds need to be documented, and those can come from donations, in-kind donations, volunteer time, and cash. And it has the same deadline as the previous 2 applications of September 12th. So our tourism project grant, I think, is a really core piece of what we offer, and really speaks to what we're trying to accomplish through a lot of the program here in our overall goals. All right, and our final grant category that we'll cover today is the Tourism Capital Grant. And this is our category that supports major investments in visitor generating projects. You know, long-term durable improvements that will improve visitors' experience when they're in Ithaca and Tompkins County, and potentially attract them to consider making a trip to our community. These grants are available for nonprofit organizations and municipalities, and the grant can fund the capital improvements directly, and it can also fund feasibility studies to determine whether or not, you know, a particular sort of improvement is feasible or not. Awards range from $5,000 to $100,000. In the current round, we have $242,000 available. A match is required, one-to-one match. And you'll notice the deadline. You may be noticing a theme here. It's September 12th. All of these grants are due September 12th. I saw Kurt Anderson on the call a moment ago. Kurt is our administrator for this program with the Ithaca Area Economic Development Organization. And I'm going to see if you wouldn't mind just giving a brief overview of this and sharing some of your thoughts on the Tourism Capital Grant.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Hi, Kurt Anderson, Ithaca Area Economic Development. This will be the first normal funding round of this program that I'm going through. So I'm going to learn alongside you all. And I actually recognize some of the names and faces on this call as folks who have been supported by the Tourism Capital Grants program in the past. So some of you may be more familiar than others, but Nick nailed the gist of it. This is kind of the granddaddy of the 4 programs. It does require a one-to-one match. I want to make very clear also that there are feasibility studies and capital improvement projects. Feasibility studies, you will outlay the cash for your consultant. We will reimburse you once you submit the final design or final feasibility study to us. Tourism capital grants, or I'm sorry, the capital improvement side of the house will front you the money for that project. So just keep in mind that you're going to eat the cost on a feasibility study till the end, and the capital projects, you'll get it up front. But pretty much every installation you have seen around here, to name a few that are on this call, the Science Center, CSMA, Village of Freeville, and the Children's Garden, anything you've been to, brick and mortar, so to speak, around here has been supported by this project. Grants are typically around $75,000. This, I suspect, after a drought of 2 years, that this will be a pretty competitive program. But I know I've talked to several of you already, and I'm happy to talk with the rest of you as well. I'm scheduling visits now to go out and actually kind of walk a site and to go through, more importantly, to go through the guidelines just to make sure that you're hitting as many points as you can, being as competitive as you can, because these are really important projects, and this program is very important to the community as well. So again, some of you have my contact information. It is in the grant guidelines. You could also get it from Nick, but I am definitely here to talk you through it. I've got a lot of grant experience, so I know how to read all the fine details that sometimes get a little overwhelming. So just give me a shout anytime.
Thanks, Kurt. So yeah, strongly encourage you, if you're considering this application, to connect with Kurt, and before you get too far down the application track, he can give you some really good pointers in putting together that application. So Brian, yeah.
Yeah, quick question for you, Kurt. I was actually looking over the program guidelines for the capital grants this morning, and I saw in the push on the website, the matching requirement was 1 to 2. Is it 1 to 2 or 1 to 1?
No, you nailed it. It is listed as 2 to 1.
Sorry, yeah, one county funds, one part county funds, 2 part recipient funds.
That's right. Yep. Okay. So that you're right. That was listed as 1 to 1 in the presentation, but in the application guidelines, it is 2 to 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, that's a typo on our end. Sorry about that. Okay.
And if I may, I'm sorry, just since we're talking about tourism capital grants, there's 44% of the projects that have moved to capital improvement projects have come through the feasibility side of the house first. So that is definitely something to keep in mind, that if you are thinking about something, it's a good minor league, right, to work through this program and get that plan together and then come back for full funding. Just a heads up.
Great. I'm going to take a few minutes to just share a little bit of process of what happens behind the scenes and how award decisions get made. Just kind of, so you kind of get a sense of, what goes into this and how long things take. So all the funding for the tourism program comes through hotel room occupancy taxes, which our local hotels, motels, bed and breakfasts, and short-term rentals all pay. And that is what funds our county's tourism program budget. And that's what allows us to invest in programs for both grants and the foundation programs. And the foundation programs include the Convention Visitors Bureau, the Downtown Ithaca Alliance Festivals Program, Community Arts Partnership, and the Beautification Program, and a few others. But today we'll focus on the grants and how those awards come in. Following when we get your grant applications in after the deadline, those will be reviewed by a review committee, and we have 3 different review committees that will be assigned to to this task. So in late September, they'll be making those recommendations of what grants to fund and how much to award to them, and sending those up to the county's Strategic Tourism Planning Board, who then votes on those recommendations and sends them on to the county legislature. Once the legislature has voted on it, that gives me the power to go ahead and make those grant awards. And those take the form of contracts between the county and the grant recipient to move those funds over and make those projects happen. So that's kind of, in a sort of a process way how these things take place. This is basically the same information, but just in text instead of a flow chart. So when we get your applications in, we do a staff review for completeness and eligibility. The review committee evaluates those applications, scores them, and sends their recommendations for funding onto the STPB. The tourism board then considers those each committee's recommendations and and votes to submit those up to the county legislature via the Planning, Development, and Environmental Quality Committee. And once the legislature votes on it, then we can go ahead and prepare and send the contracts. So from a timing perspective, this is what you're looking at. These are the key dates to keep in mind for this grant cycle. So today we're on August 2nd. Today's the workshop. Next month, September 12th is our application deadline. That's for all 4 programs. October 19th is when I expect STPB to make its grant award recommendations. Those will then go on to the Planning, Development, and Environmental Quality Committee, which meets on October 24th. And assuming everything's going smoothly, we will get onto the county legislature agenda November 1st. Once the legislature has voted on those grant resolutions, we can go ahead and issue contracts. So those can come out as early as November 2nd. So I think that the key date here is that November 2nd is that really nothing that we can fund in this cycle will be able to happen before November 2nd. So activities that you should be thinking about for this cycle should be, really mid-November or later to make sure that they're safely in that period where we can fund them. All right. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and give a quick overview of the Common Grant Application Portal, which is where we have all of the applications for all of these programs, and just highlight some of the key steps to getting your application together in that. To get to Common Grant Application, I recommend you go through our website, go through the tompkinscountyny.gov/tourism/grants. On that website, we have right toward the top, we have a line here that has the link to Common Grant Application and a link to this video, which is a 5-minute video that gives a really good overview of how to use the site. And here's the video. I'll send the link out afterwards so folks can watch it. When you get to that page, you'll check a few things. First, make sure that you're in the right spot. You'll see at the top here, it says Tompkins County Department of Planning and Sustainability. Then you'll want to check that you're looking at the right program. I believe they're just organized alphabetically. So check the program name that it matches what you're looking for. And then when you're ready to start an application, down here, there are two options. One is if you already have an account. If you've done one before, you can just log in to start an application. And if you don't, you can sign up to open an account and start the application. This is what the sign up screen looks like. It's very simple. You don't need a lot of information to sign up to start an account. And once you've done that, you will get to a spot where you can begin your application. Again, confirm that you're in the right program and before you go to continued application. And just like that, you are in the application and ready to start drafting your proposal. So at any point along the way, you can click save and the system will save a copy of your application. And you can see where your progress over here on the left for the different sections of the application. The one highlighted in blue is where you are, and the ones that are in gray are ones that your other pages. And at any point, you can also save a local copy of your application by clicking on PDF download, and that will save a PDF of your entire application to your computer. If you do something in the application, like save it, you'll get a notice up at the top here. So if you see this little icon with the triangle and the exclamation point, that's where you'll see notices. And the rest of it's relatively self-explanatory. You go through and fill in the boxes where there's questions and prompts through the application. Once you've filled in all of the required components of the application, you will see this button switch from gray to green, and you'll be able to submit your application. If you click the preview check application, you can give it it'll show you any fields that are incomplete. This is a screenshot of an application that's fully filled out, and you can see it's showing that it's ready for submission. I'd strongly recommend that at this point, you just for your own records, make sure you save a PDF of the application so you have one in case you're lose your password or whatever. That way it's in your files. But yeah, submit your application by clicking that green button. You'll get a confirmation of what you're trying to do, and you'll click submit one last time to finally submit it. In the email you have associated with this account, you'll get a confirmation email, and it will show you an application number and then some other information about the program that you applied to. And then if you log back into Common Grant application after you've submitted, you'll see on the dashboard there that it shows one application under review, and that'll stay under review until a final decision is made in early November relating to that status of that application. If you're considering preparing multiple applications, honestly, probably just call me or Kristen, and we can walk you through it. It's a little complicated. So first thing you need to do is exit your draft application and then get back into that list of grant makers to find us again and start a new application. So we can help you walk through that situation if you're considering that. But that is basically it for Common Grant application. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to go. We're just about at an hour here, so I think we're doing okay on time, and I'll just open it up to anyone who has questions or has something that they'd like to share a concern or a question or something that they're curious about for the fall round of grants.